Hey, it's episode 2 of whatever we're calling this mode. So to recap, I am an Iron Man with a restriction. In order to advance through the game, I have to interact with every single entity in an area exactly once. That means every tree needs to be chopped, and every unique enemy needs to be slain. Each time I interact with something, it becomes exhausted. For now, I'm using a red outline to indicate things that are exhausted. When something is exhausted, I'm not allowed to touch it again. Once I've exhausted everything in an area, I can move to a new area. And similar to the bonfire mechanic in Soulsborne games, when I pass through the fog, so to speak, into a new area, I rest at the checkpoint, and every exhausted tree, rock, and enemy in earlier areas becomes unexhausted. Now I need to clear everything in both the new area and the old area to open the next fog wall. Is this going to work as a game mode? I don't know. What's my objective? The quest cape, I guess. Let's check it out. Okay, so I'm back and really excited to be playing more of this. I've been thinking about it quite a bit. You can see this is the chunk that I've unlocked. I'm going to go ahead and process that. It looks like I can actually do a lot of these chunk activities in-game now instead of having to use that external tool. I will use the tool for rolling stuff, and it looks like it's pretty helpful for keeping track of what content is available to us here. But it looks like I'm able to mark unlockable chunks, and I can unlock the chunk directly from here. Looks like I didn't remove the tiles that were tracking items that I picked up, so I'm just going to keep track of that manually. There's not that many items on the ground to pick up in Lumbridge anyway. But I'll pick up these logs again, and we're going to go to this new zone, and I'll talk about what we're doing when we get there. All right, so I'm standing at the threshold of the previous zone boundary. Use your imagination and imagine there's like a fog wall here, and then I walk slowly through it. There's a bonfire like right here or something. I guess I could make my own bonfire, huh? I could chop one of these trees down and then, yeah, that's a thing I can do in RuneScape. Let me go do that real quick. All right, take 2. I cross the fog and I'm gonna rest at a bonfire. Pay no attention to the fact that this tree will remain exhausted after I rest at the bonfire. Also, there's no sit emote in this game, is there? Oh man, I really gotta rest and get all my exhausted entities back or something. Instead of a sit emote, I will spin. There, it's much more flavorful than Dark Souls sitting at a fire. But yeah, now we have this new area available to us. Looks like there's a lot of cool stuff here. I'm going to start surveying. I think my plan is to, do everything in the newest chunk first before I go back and do things in previous chunks. So let's look at what we've got available to us here. Hey folks, Future Marstead here again, just reporting on the tasks in this chunk. I do get a plugin eventually, in fact the one you can see on the screen right here, that makes it a lot easier for me to track it and for me to show you what's going on, but I don't have it in episode 1, 2, or most of 3, to my recollection. So just going to go down the list here of what the tasks are in our newest chunk, the H.A.M Hideout. On the left is the outside area, on the right, H.A.M Cult is the inside area with the guards and the pickpocketing. So we have to slay 4 giant rats, kill 22 goblins, kill a mugger and a unicorn, and then we're done with killing things. The big scary thing in this chunk is 112 regular trees. It's a lot of trees. Me, Future Marstead, I'm pretty far into this playthrough right now, so I've done this chunk a lot of times, and I always dread those trees. 8 oaks, which I might be able to hit this episode because I should be getting tons of woodcutting XP, and 4 yews, which we're not going to hit for a while. There's a tree patch that we can farm for, we can just, rake it once for farming XP. There's a couple item spawns. I think it's an air rune and a pot, not so great. And a handful of critters, which I hadn't yet decided that I was going to make critters optional, so I do kill all of the little spiders, giant spiders, and rats, but in the future that just becomes an option. As far as inside the H.A.M Hideout, there are 22 guards in there of varying combat levels. They're level 12, 18, and 22. As of this episode, episode 2, I really am not going to be able to handle anything above level 12. Like, I'll just get wrecked. So the objective is to kill as many of them as possible until I start needing to death warp in the middle of a single kill to even kill one of them right at the higher levels. And then I can't steal from the H.A.M males or the H.A.M females or the H.A.M guards in the quest area or unlock the small chests in the quest area. So pretty much it's just going down into the hideout and killing as many H.A.M guards as possible. Those are the tasks for this chunk. I hope that's enough information for you to follow. Enjoy! Farming patches are kind of interesting. So if we only are allowed to click the farming patch one time, then we get one weed from it, and we can never actually farm. So I think depleting the weeds on each farming patch is completely reasonable. It's deterministic. You're only ever going to get 3, maybe 4 weeds if one of the weeds regenerates while you're doing it. I don't know how planting is going to work just yet. I'm leaning toward you can plant one of each seed in each patch per cycle, on the argument that if you were only allowed to plant one seed, it would look like a normal account. You would just plant whatever the most efficient seed was. And we'd want to see as much content as possible. Wouldn't it be fun to plant every kind of allotment seed in every allotment patch every single time? But I can't plant anything right now. All I can do is weed this for XP, so I'm going to buy a rake. I got to bring any money with me, so I got to murder these goblins anyway. I'll just start working on that. Hopefully I'll get the cash. I need 15 gold. First goblin dropped 20. Beautiful. All right, here we go. Getting our first rake. Rake, get. And now I'm allowed to rake this once. And I think that on the same rule as I can't really abuse monster HP regen, I can't like start to rake this and then leave and then come back and rake it some more. So we're just gonna rake it until it's all the way down. I guess that also probably means that I have to plant stuff in these things right away. It's gonna be good to get auto weeds, so I don't even think about this, but we're not gonna be in Karen for many hundreds of hours, so probably not something to think about for now. So that red tile means that that's exhausted. I am going to, cut all these trees and kill all these goblins and stuff, but I kind of want to see what the unique things to do are here. Here's one new thing. I didn't have giant rats before, technically, because I couldn't get to them along the wall. They did kind of walk into my chunk region before. Giant rats drop rat meat, which is technically food. It's not good food, but it is technically food, so hooray. I might see if I can restore the chunk boundary, because it's useful for you to be able to see where my old chunk was. I just don't want it to be this huge line that's in the way all the time, so I'll try to make it like pretty low opacity. There's our new chunk borderline. You can see it, it's less obnoxious. Well, this is kind of a neat discovery. There's a unicorn that wanders around over here. Obviously, I can't use its unicorn horn for a really long time, but that's still kind of neat. Oh, it is kicking my ass. Huh. I'm just sitting here staring at it, wondering if I'm going to die. As I'm running back, it looks like marking the object does work once the weeds start to regrow, so that's good to see. Oh, there's a mugger here, too. That's a completely different entity. Oh, don't walk into the... No! Playthrough ruined. Seriously? I just... Well, this is interesting. This doesn't happen here and there just because RuneScape is janky, but all that matters is that I started fighting it over in this chunk. I'm not going to dip over there to fight it. I'm going to wait for it to walk back over here, but okay, I got it back over the boundary. Thank God. It was really stupid. All right, the unicorn has been slain. Chunk Picker keeps track of which quests I'm able to start and complete, and I think I'm not going to bother with starting quests until I'm actually able to do them. So right now, with my chunks unlocked, I can't do any quests, so I'm not going to bother talking with these guys or anything like that. All right, I'm going to kill this mugger. I was looking at his drop table. I don't think there's anything on there that's particularly interesting compared to like a normal man or woman, but 1 copper ore would actually kind of be a big deal. Mugger down, and we got a rope. All right. I think I can buy those from the normal store in Lumbridge, but... All right, so I think honestly this chunk is basically just a shitload of trees. This is going to be just me chopping down 1,000,000 trees. Now, the H.A.M storeroom is here. Anything that's underground is fully accessible. It's not chunk locked. I need to think about how I'm going to deal with this trap door, though, because, I mean, right now I can't pickpocket anybody in there, so it's kind of a moot point. But once I am able to pickpocket people, if I get thrown out, am I allowed to go back through this door? Still trying to pick the lock on it. I think the thing that makes this controversial is the fact that it gives me a very small amount of thieving XP. As you can see, I get 1 thieving XP while I'm trying to pick the lock on it. It's a little problematic. I guess I would argue that the total XP from picking this door is so bad that, and the spirit of the mode of exhausting everything I have access to is much more interesting, that the amount of extra thieving XP I'd get from having to pick my way in here every time is not that big of a deal. Like, I would rather actually exhaust every H.A.M member in the basement, because I think that's more in the spirit of the game mode than only being able to go down this door once. So I'm going to go ahead and rule here that I can go down this door any number of times, but I can't waste time down there. I can't like abuse it to try to grind this thing for, 450 thieving XP per hour. I can only go down there after I get kicked out, basically. All right, this isn't going well. I am not picking the lock on this thing. I'm at 37 attempts. I guess I'll let it go to 50, but then I still want to do this before we leave the chunk. I don't think there's too much I can do down there since I can't actually pickpocket the H.A.M members, but I don't want to be like grinding, because that's the opposite of this game mode. I can't interact with the same node like this for so long. It's technically all coming from failure XP. Yeah, so I'll let it get to 50 attempts, and when it doesn't work, I'll, come back here after I finish pickpocketing all the men and women in Lumbridge. I think it's only going to get me up to thieving level 4 at best, but maybe that'll be much better in terms of success rate to get down here. It's actually pretty good thieving XP, as miserable as that is compared to what I can get total. But I don't want to be abusing that. That's the whole point. If I get XP in the process of getting down the trapdoor, so be it. But I don't want to use it and abuse it. So we'll kill the spiders first, which are annoying because they drop nothing and their kills aren't tracked in the loot tracker as a result. But we'll do the spiders. We'll do the goblins. I think there might be a handful of rats running around near the castle. I got another beginner clue scroll here. Charlie the Tramp. That's not happening. I need to think about how I'm going to handle the trees out here. I don't know if I want to bring every inventory of logs to the bank. I feel like that's going to get really tedious really quickly. I think I'm generally more interested in fletching right now than I am in fire making. Fire making doesn't really have any use other than to get rid of the logs, so I think I'm going to bring a knife. I'm going to save those weeds for compost later. Precious compost. So I gotta be really careful. I'm hoping I can make this plugin to automate this, but as you saw earlier, I was in the middle of fighting a goblin when my inventory was full and I got that clue scroll drop. I think I had it down to 1 hit point. I'm like, I'm gonna run away, it's to make sure that I can pick up whatever this goblin's loot is. And then I completely lost track of the goblin because it was, I had already tagged it. Because now I'm down, 1 goblin's loot. Wow, like with the rats, I didn't even notice these little baby spiders. I guess I've done Turiel boosting here, but it's always been with a cannon, so I guess the cannon just knocks out those little baby spiders without me even seeing them. I am learning in this chunk, this is the first chunk I've had where there are aggro enemies, namely the mugger. You get aggro to a single combat area, and you're not allowed to kill the thing that aggroed you, and you have no run energy. Oh my god, is it a pain in the ass. You kind of have to, sneak around a tree to get them to drop aggro on you, and it's not very fun. Oh, I got an ensouled goblin head. I will probably never get to use that, but those are cool. We are going to bank literally everything, no matter how miserable that makes things. Guess there is technically an air rune spawn on the ground here. Sure, I'll take it. I got an easy clue scroll. Oh, the Doomsayer. I can actually do that. Right on. I don't think I'll be able to do the next step, but hey, it's kind of fun. Mercifully, there are way fewer entities over here. There's not 57 goblins. Woodcutting 10. I'm also not really announcing level ups. I'll do them in multiples of 5. I guess I'm technically also 5 defense. And then once we get into the higher levels where levels are more impactful, I'll start announcing them. Oh shit, see, here's a problem. I probably need to keep auto-retaliate off because I hit this mugger once. That sucks. I might have maybe have enough resources, enough money to buy a steel axe, and I think I can equip one, so I'm going to check the axe shop while I head over to the Doomsayer here. And the next easy clue step is at the exam center. That is not happening, so I'm going to drop it. Well, the steel axe is 200 GP. Probably worth it. So I'm going to go work on goblin murder on this side of the river for a little bit. Got another beginner clue scroll, but it's Western Falador, so that's not happening. I'm going to go ahead and drop it. Oh, hey, my first ever random event. I suppose I should do that. Oh, I just unlocked a shitload of music tracks for doing this. I guess technically this isn't in my chunk, but I don't know. I think random events are fine. Alright, it gave me the camo top. That's neat. I gotta get back to killing goblins, though, because I need 8 gold coins, and then I can buy the better axe. Alright, I just got my coin count. I'm gonna go... How many coins have I gotten from goblins total? 189 so far. Right on. Yeah, I'm gonna go buy the steel axe, and then we're gonna deforest the new chunk, and see what's left to do there, because I don't think there's gonna be too much other than getting into the H.A.M storeroom. Buy steel axe. Keep track of the stuff I buy from shops. I guess shops like this, I will never buy more than 1 steel axe from Bob, so I probably don't need to stress too much out about it, but I will log that in a spreadsheet or something, or maybe we'll do a plugin eventually that tries to keep track of it. All right, using out the steel axe now. I am trying to tag these right as I interact with them so I don't forget. And it's time to spend probably 40 minutes deforesting this place. I'll talk to you soon. This is going to be boring. It's got a clue nest. Beginner. No, not happening. It'll be really exciting to get 1 clue to complete. I forgot that this tree is where the leprechaun is. All right. I guess I'll just leave it marked. That's fine. This tree is partially in my chunk. If it's in my chunk, I'll chop it. Wondering why I was struggling to kill this goblin. I guess there's a level 5 goblin that's able to cross the boundary over here. The other ones are level 2. I can technically reach these frogs. Oh no, don't cross! Alright, I'll wait for him to cross the threshold. I think I can only get a couple of them to cross. I've seen this one cross, and then one over here crossed earlier. Alright, I did kill the frog that crossed over, and it just dropped some bones. I don't even know if it has any drops. Alright, here comes 15 wood cutting, so I can finally start doing oaks, which is very exciting. Now cut down oak trees. But again, I can only cut them once, so I gotta be careful to click off as soon as I see the logs come in, like that. Hey folks, Future Marstead here with a little bit of discussion on that thing I just said about only being able to chop oak trees once rather than chop them until they're depleted. Folks used to my channel are probably used to the patented Marstead tedious ramble about some topics, so if you're not interested in tedious rambling for 5 minutes, maybe skip to the next time code. This is likely going to be a staple of these videos where I'm going to interrupt things to pontificate for 5 minutes, so I'll try to always include a time code for you to skip it if that's not your bag. I think that doing things until they're depleted once is in the spirit of, raking until the weeds are all gone once, or killing enemies, like attacking them until they're dead, as opposed to just hitting them once and then walking away. At time of recording, I'm about 10 episodes ahead of this one. I've still stuck with this rule of you can only click things one time. If I'm going to do a rule change, I'd like there to be some kind of state change in the world that allows me to change the rules a little bit. Right now, I really like the fact that there's a deterministic or near deterministic amount of XP in a new chunk. Like, you can look at the total number of trees and know that I'm going to get X woodcutting XP from them, right? And being able to chop oak trees until they're depleted kind of throws a bit of a wrench into that. Right now, the only kind of randomness wrench that exists in our system is what enemies drop. Like, enemy drops and random events are insanely impactful to this run. Getting a random copper ore drop is massively impactful to this account, and I really like that, and I want to keep that idea. An idea that I'm going to formally implement in a few episodes is that if I fully 100% complete a chunk, do literally everything there is to do in it, all quests, all nodes, that kind of a thing, that chunk then becomes optional for me to exhaust in future cycles. I don't literally have to go and do everything there anymore. That's going to be a really necessary rule for this playthrough to be possible. Otherwise, it's going to take, I think my calculation was 80,000 hours. So maybe we can build on top of that and say, also, if a chunk has been 100% completed, any of these special nodes in that chunk, like fishing spots or oak trees, can be interacted with until they deplete. And that's when you count them as exhausted. I actually kind of like this from a flavor perspective. Right now, this account, compared to a lot of other Ironman account, is going to have a pretty linear rate of progression. It's going to get harder over time, but I'm not really going to run into the sort of insane Swampletics smithing grind or Limpward Calphite Queen grind walls that are going to hold up uploads for weeks or months or years, which is something that's good about the account. But it also means that there's nothing particularly exciting about actually finishing a chunk, because I'm just going to keep rolling a chunk once I've exhausted everything that I can do. I think this reward is nice because it works from both directions. It says, okay, if you finish a chunk, now you no longer care about any of the low value nodes in that chunk. You can just skip chopping all of the regular trees. However, these slightly higher value nodes, like, I don't know, the willow trees in Lumbridge, you will get slightly more resources from them now because you can chop them until they deplete. Now, this is going to disproportionately impact certain skills. It doesn't apply to mining at all. I suppose it would apply to the Motherlode mine. If I'm able to complete the Motherlode mine, do everything that's in there, unlock the upper level and everything, then I would be able to interact with each of the pay dirt walls until it depletes. That would be a pretty massive upgrade. But I suppose that's a reasonable reward because finishing the Motherlode mine is huge. Like, when I go in there for the first time, I'm only going to be able to click on each of the walls one time, turn in my pay dirt, and bounce. So I kind of like this as an idea. I think I'm going to go ahead and implement it. I am 10 episodes ahead of this one right now, so you're not going to see it implemented for some time. But I'm probably also not going to complete any chunks for some time, so it might not actually be relevant for several dozen hours into the future. You're going to find that the rules in this mode have to be a little bit flexible, just so that I can actually play the game instead of being paralyzed by theory crafting for weeks and weeks and months. So appreciate your patience with that as we nail down what is and is not Bonfire Man. Another rule clarification that's going to come up in several episodes, it's not going to matter for now. I'm going to hint at it so you can try to speculate on what I could possibly be referring to. The rule is that if you 100% complete a chunk, you no longer have to do everything in that chunk on future cycles if you don't want to. Now, the clarification is that that applies separately to the surface chunks and the underground areas that are connected to those surface chunks. So if you do everything inside the H.A.M hideout, for example, you no longer have to do the H.A.M hideout. That also applies to anything that's considered a sub-chunk of a surface chunk. So like a quest instance that you can return to any number of times. For instance, I'm not bringing that up for any specific reasons. I'll leave it to you to speculate what may have happened that caused me to say we need to clarify this rule as soon as possible. But that's the clarification. If there's a surface area and an underground area, and you do everything on the surface, you can start to skip the surface on future cycles. And similarly for the underground, if you clear the underground, you can skip it on future cycles. Thank you for listening to my long rant. Let's get back to the playthrough. All right, about to hit 5 fletching, which is nice. Can make short bows now, which I don't know if I should. I think I'm going to keep doing shafts for now. Okay, I think this is the dream of the playthrough, right? Having a chunk with this many trees that are all destroyed. So I think I've got just about everything in the chunk. There's obviously some on the chunk border that I haven't done. Let me just pass through here and make sure I'm not obviously missing anything to destroy. But we have deforested chunk number 2. I think I've killed all of the goblins that can walk over here. There might be a handful of frogs that can cross that boundary. So yeah, this chunk is basically done. I need to get into the H.A.M storeroom, but I'm going to wait until I have higher thieving, so I'm not gaining so much thieving XP on the trapdoor. I'm going to go back to the beginning chunk. We're still going to operate on the assumption that I have to clear past chunks. I can't just roll a new chunk. And that's not optional. I might make that optional eventually once this becomes a nightmare. But anyway, I'm going to kill these rats, then I'm going to go pick some pockets, hopefully get thieving up to like level 4. I'm just going to deal with all the men and women in the base Lumbridge chunk, and then we'll move on and see if we can get into the H.A.M storeroom. All right, so this says I need to get 15 more pickpockets to get to level 4 thieving, and there's just not enough men and women for that to happen, so I think I'm going to go back and actually finish up my chunk here. All right. Picklock. Just gonna do it until we get in there. Hey, we got it finally. That wasn't too bad. All right, so I can attack the H.A.M guards, but they're level 18. Oh man, that's concerning. I think they're gonna annihilate me if I try to fight them. And I could technically fight them and then die and then run back, but each time I'm doing that, I'm getting thieving XP from opening the door, so I should probably say that it's not possible for me to kill these right now, because for it to be possible, I'd have to death run so many times, and I would get so much thieving XP from picking the door that I think that's contrary to the spirit of the mode. But I'm going to explore to see if there's any like items to pick up on the ground, since I can't pickpocket any of them yet. All right, as far as I can tell, there are no pickups in here. So I'm going to try to fight a H.A.M guard, the lowest level one I can find, level 12. I'm actually curious if it just kicks me out of here when I fight them or not. I guess I'm allowed to fight them. I said earlier that I could keep coming down here no matter how many times I get kicked out, in the interest of the game mode being about, you know, exhausting everything and killing everything. So maybe I do need to keep coming down here, but I just worry I'm going to get so much thieving XP in the process. Looks like the level 12 guards are actually pretty reasonable. Alright, just kill the guard, and it dropped bones and buttons, which I guess the buttons I can polish for... Can I not polish buttons at level 1 crafting? That's kind of funny. Alright, let me try to track down all of the level 12 H.A.M guards here. Alright, I killed my second H.A.M guard, and I'm almost dead, so I'd have to come in here so many times to kill... Even if I just killed the level 12s. Maybe that's the strategy. Like, I know that if I fight the level 22, it's going to hit me so hard and it's going to take me so long to kill. Like, I probably have to do multiple trips just to finish it off. But maybe it's reasonable to try to kill all the level 12s. Because we've already talked about the fact, like, is it worth doing something if it's not possible in the chunk? And in this case, I have to weigh... If I could just come downstairs, I would be rushing these things and throwing my corpse at them over and over until I win. But since I do get XP for coming in here, I want to limit how much I'm gaining from it. So I think my compromise is to be just kill the level 12s. And then on future iterations, you know, once our stats are higher and I can handle these better, I'll obviously kill all of them, but I don't think it makes sense to right now. Whoa, this is actually super exciting. I got a steel pickaxe. Wow, that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying that the RNG in this mode is going to be amazing. I'm having to, like, suffer to get individual guard kills here, and that makes it all worth it. So here's another problem where I don't know which of these I was actually working on, so I think I'm just going to have to guess and run... Oh, what's that one? Okay, perfect. Lucky me. I'm going to try to wait to start tagging these guys until they're about to be dead when I'm low on health, just in case that happens again. And I got some potato seeds. Might be neat later. Actually, that's a pretty exciting drop because I don't think I can get seeds very easily at all. All right, so the objective right now is continue working on all of the level 12 ham guards, which I think I might be starting to run out of, but they seem to have a really interesting drop table, so I'm glad I'm doing this. Hey, I got 3 raw anchovies, which isn't amazing, but, you know, given my lack of food access, it's actually kind of cool. I think I've finished off all of the level 12 ham guards now. I'm going to do a quick pass just to see. I guess there's one more to this guy. We'll see if I can make the higher level ones, the 18s and the 22s work, but I think it would be prudent to go back to Lumbridge and finish wiping out all the goblins there and just get my attack and strength stats as high as possible to increase my chance of surviving down here. So I'm going to try it. We'll see. If I can't kill a single one without having to do a death run, then I'll consider the 18 and 22s not worth it for the thieving XP at beginning on the way in. Just hit level 10 strength, which is, I don't think it gets me an extra max hit. Okay, I think all level 12s are actually done now. So I'm going to exit the building because I don't think I can start fighting the 18s without dying. I'm going to go back over to Lumbridge and finish killing everything in Lumbridge. I'm going to save like chopping the trees over there for last because it's easy for me to keep track of that with object markers. Just got an Earth Talisman from a man kill. It was man, right? Yeah. So that's pretty neat. Just finishing up pickpocketing and killing all of them. And then we're going to go across the river and kill another 50 goblins. It's going to be great. Well, I just hit Thieving 4, and I was able to hit it because of going into the ham storeroom multiple times for XP. Well, not for XP, but going down there to kill ham guards. So 4 is nice. I don't think I'm going to get the 5, even if I end up trying to kill all the guards down there. Just making sure that these are always matched. And I've got 19-man kills and 19-man pickpockets. Got a beginner clue scroll and an easy clue scroll on the same kill. It's kind of neat. Charlie the Tramp, nope. Falador, nope. Back to Goblin Murder. This is going way faster than the first time. Imagine once I'm able to start hitting 5s and have a chance to one-shot these guys, this is going to be nothing. Let's hit defense level 10. We're getting up there. Definitely see even the small defense levels having a significant impact on my survivability here. Early on, when I had defense level 1, even with the same gear, I was taking a lot of damage fighting goblins, and I think I don't even take enough for it to overcome my regen now, so that'll probably help once we get downstairs into the ham storeroom. Okay, I think all the goblins are dead, and this went way more smoothly. We got 127 kills total, which sounds right across both chunks. 70 today, yeah, so that's like the 57 plus the summer handful that are on the other side of the other chunk. I still have a bunch of regular non-goblin enemies to kill, like random spiders and rats, so I'm going to start working on that. But we're going to be out of here pretty soon, I think. I think my second attempt at killing an imp. I think there's only one imp in between my 2 chunks right now, so I'm going to get to kill this once each time I roll a new one. See what happens here. Didn't teleport, which is nice. A pot. Not so great. I've been out of this second chunk for a while and forgot just how magical it looks like with everything in red like this. I'm heading back in now to try to kill the ham guard. I'm going to work on the 18s first before I move on to the 22s. I think that makes sense. I'm going to die to the first level 18 guard before I get to kill it. It's going to regenerate a whole bunch. Yep, I'm dead. Okay, this is going to suck. I'm not even getting that much XP because I'm missing so often, but I might try to bring some food on one of these trips. I can make some of that rat meat. I guess this is the time to use it, right? I was thinking about saving it until I have access to more food in general, like fishing spots. But I have to be really careful with food because I can only buy so much from shops, and I'm not actually allowed to gather all that much from fishing spots, right? I might get like 4 shrimp out of it. Okay, the first level 18 guard I killed had 1 coin. It's shaping up to be extremely worth it, and not at all a waste of time. We are going to want to kill these in the future when I have access to more resources and better stats. Yeah, so I died again. I got to set a rule for this. I don't want to, like, weasel out of content when I'm starting to feel like it's frustrating. I want to actually have a hard and fast rule that says when we dip out of something. Because remember, if we choose to dip out of something, I'm taking a loss there. Like, I'm sacrificing the drops and the XP that I would have gotten from killing the other enemies. So it's not free for me to dip out, but I also don't want it to just be arbitrary. So I think the rule is going to be if I start fighting an enemy from full health and it kills me before I can kill it, and that happens multiple times, that enemy, I'm going to skip it for the rest of that chunk. I'll try to do it again on the next cycle and continue trying until we're able to get kills on it. But we're going to kind of have to make this rule, especially since food is so limited in this mode. Like, even if I went and cooked all my food right now, I might get, I don't know, 3 extra kills, but then I'd be completely out of food for future chunks. I'm about to die to this guy. Yeah. That's horrible. Okay, finally made it back into this guy. While I was running around, I noticed I did in fact miss a level 12 H.A.M guard, so I'll go finish him off after this one dies. Hopefully he doesn't kill me again before I kill him. It could happen. At this rate, yeah, he only has to hit me 2 more times. Oh my god, I'm gonna die again, aren't I? Okay, thank god. At least I feel like this justifies my approach a little bit. Well, I killed the level 12 one. Looks like it dropped some anchovies, but I died on the same tick, so I don't think I'm able to get those items back. I'm gonna go down to recover my gravestone at least, but it takes me so long to pickpocket the door, I think the anchovies will be despawned by the time I get there. So I guess that makes 8 level 12 H.A.M guards, and I've killed 2 of the 18s, and I'm not going to be able to do the rest of them. I think this area is done now. I think I've cut every tree, killed every enemy, done everything I can in the H.A.M hideout for now. We'll try to take it further next cycle, once we roll a new chunk. It'll be a victory to actually clear this place. Well, I ended up hitting level 5 thieving in the process of trying to get this stupid door to open. You can probably calculate how much XP came from that dumb trapdoor. I am completely done with the second chunk. I just have to finish up the first chunk now. I gotta chop a bunch of trees and shear some sheep and stuff. So I'm gonna do that, and then we'll roll a new chunk. So hit level 20 wood cutting off that oak tree in Lumbridge. What is the next tree I get? Willow trees at 30. Okay, and there are some willow trees in Lumbridge. Shearing sheep, killing rams. I guess I can chop down that oak since it's peeking into my chunk. As a precedent, I can interact with anything that's even partially in my chunk rather than entirely in my unlocked chunks. That's probably fine. I guess if it becomes problematic later, or you think it might be problematic, let me know in the comments. Didn't really think about this, but I have access to more of the sheep pen now. All right, looks like I only have 10 wool. I haven't seen any of the other sheep cross the boundary there. Oh, one just did. All right, I'll get us to 11. Oh, shit. Well, maybe not. I have a few more trees to cut. As you can see, most of the trees are done. Everything's looking pretty dead, but I gotta get everything off the other side of the river. All right, I think I've finished chopping all the trees over here. I'm just gonna double check that there aren't any in southeast Lumbridge. And then I think we might be done with these 2 chunks, and it might be time to roll here. Yeah, that looks like that's it. So there's that yew tree, but I can't chop it, obviously. That's episode 2. Let me head up to the bank so I can summarize our resources and XP and all that, and we'll roll the new chunk. All right, resource summary time. Let's see what we got here. I want to equip this, like having a unique look for my character when we're summarizing things. So here's the bank. I got to do a little bit of organization here. But you can see that we're getting more and more items over time, which is quite nice. Made some progress in terms of getting new resources like the steel axe. Still have very little food. This is all of the food that has been possible for me to get at this point. So like I was saying, I could have brought that down into the or the H.A.M hideaway, but it would have been useless. It would have gotten me like 1 kill, maybe. Getting the potato seeds are pretty exciting. The steel pickaxe might be one of the most exciting things that happened. Yeah, that was from one of the H.A.M guards that we killed before. So really, really cool stuff. XP situation, I think all the XP I got today, you can see on the right. This took me about 3 hours to do these 2 chunks. I imagine that's only going to go up and up and up as we progress. And I guess the loot tracker totals, we've killed a whole total of 130 goblins, 4 rams, 10 H.A.M guards, 2 imps, 21 men, 11 women, a single big frog, 5 giant rats, a mugger, and a unicorn. I think that's everything, so it's time to pull up the chunk roller and see what we get next. Okay, let's take a look here. What is possible? I already gave my thoughts on 1, 2, and 3. I would like 1. That would be nice. 4, 5, and 6. So 4 is a good chunk of Draenor. It'll be interesting to unlock. I can't use the agility course there. I mean, it's 1 more chunk away anyway, but I don't have the levels for it. But there might be some cool stuff in Draenor, or more trees to cut. I'm not really familiar with what's down in 5 other than that the Lumbridge dungeon's down there, and I think I might need Slayer to interact with some of that. I didn't even realize that there was ore down here. I don't know what ore that is. It might be copper and tin. I'm actually kind of excited to find out what the hell that is. And then 6 is wheat fields? Potentially access to Puro, which might be kind of cool, although I don't have the hunter level to catch any of the implings, even with a net. So I don't think there's anything to do there if we don't have the net. So yeah, I don't know which of these is going to be the most exciting. Let's go ahead and pick the chunk. It's this one, Lumbridge Swamp. Awesome. All right, I'll get that hooked up for next episode. And I guess I should add before I close out here, I don't know when I'm going to get these uploaded. I might upload the first 3 episodes before I start collecting feedback from people. But please continue to put your feedback in the comments. If you think there are things I should change about the rule set, considering the rule set somewhat fluid until we get really deep into it. But I think the way we're doing it right now works pretty well. Anyway, thanks. See you next time. Bye.